All right, good evening and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. So let's start tonight with some still practice. Starting in prepare, shoulders width apart, always taking that moment to look down at your feet, remembering that our whole body's alignment starts from the ground up, so perfectly straight. Checking in on the knees so that they're also in line with our footwork. They're not turned in. They're perfectly centered, nice and soft, allowing us to relax our lower back down while lifting through the crown of the head. Let those shoulders hang down. Take a deep breath and then just relax a little bit further. And then we'll gently lift those arms up. Coming into that hug a tree position, remembering that we should keep our shoulders and elbows down, nice and soft. Taking a few deep breaths. Remember that we try to breathe in and out through our nose, all the way down through the belly. So filling the upper lungs, the lower lungs, and the belly, nice and soft. We can also exhale through the nose or the mouth, whatever feels most comfortable. But with each exhale, I want you to find softness through the arms. Remember, our goal is to feel light and airy through the upper body, flexible through our middle, and nice and heavy through the legs. So taking a couple of more deep breaths here. Can you relax that lower back a little bit more? Lifting through the crown of the head, bringing that space through the vertebrae. Beautiful shapes. So nice. Okay. Relax the arms down. This is something I do between them. Let go. Okay. Sometimes when we hold our arms up for a while, we start to bring tension through those arms. So we want to let that go tonight. I really want to bring that to you guys. So letting go. Let's go into our bow stance practice. So turning, say that left foot 45 degrees, making sure when you sink down, that knee is perfectly in line, weight centered over your foot, and then you step out for that bow stance. Starting our first one, remember our hips are open and we're turning from our waist to get our torso straight. Check in on that angle, one line from your heel all the way through the crown of your head. Lower back is relaxed. Remember not to have those hips cocked out to one side, nice and centered. Front knees over the ankle, and then we'll bring our arms up for the upper body shape as well. Taking a few breaths here. Remember, it's about a minute in each posture. So taking this time to run through the checklist. Starting with the top of your head, are you lifting through the crown of your head while tucking that tailbone down? Are the shoulders and elbows dropping? So you can imagine a little weight kind of pulling from each elbow so we really avoid having tension through the shoulders and we can relax them down. Both knees in line with the foot direction. So avoiding them turning in, have that great alignment, and then weight 60% in the front, 40% in the back. Pushing evenly, so still providing that push and support even though we're not moving, but we hold in our still practice, finding that beautiful alignment. Nice. 2 more breaths here. Where can you let go of any tension in the upper body? Can you feel that weight falling down to your feet a little bit more? And release. Release the arms. I want you to find that softness, and we'll move into the other side. So starting that beautiful prepare stance, shifting and then turning the other foot open. Maybe it's the right side if I'm mirroring you, sinking down and then stepping out. Nice shoulder width apart stance. Remember, both knees stay in line, leaning into it. So checking our position first, making sure we have 2 lines that our feet are on. Hips are turned open and we're using our waist to turn towards the front. Lifting those arms up, nice upper body position, shoulders and elbows hanging down. Lift through the crown of the head, tuck your tailbone down. Check in on that weight. Is it centered over both feet? So we're not closing our hips and having that weight fall into the arch on our back foot. We have our inner thighs are being used. We have everything in alignment, nice and strong and heavy through the legs. Flexible through that waist so we can get that turn to the front and light and airy through the arms. Beautiful. Taking a few more breaths. Remember, our back leg is going to be nice and strong. So almost straight, not locked, but not too bent. Deep breath. Remember, leaning into it so we have one line all the way through. So not too vertical, leaning that little bit, which will depend on how long your stance is. 2 more breaths. And then release. Let those arms go again. Okay. So important to find that relaxed feeling. Okay. Let's throw in an empty stance. Let's do it on the ball of our foot since we've done needle at sea bottom and white crane in this section. So standing, turning, sinking down, and then touch with the ball of your foot. If you have lines on your floor, use them to your advantage so you can have that perfect one line between the feet. Remember, hip is over your heel. That is turned open, so in line with the foot direction. And then again, remember, you're turning from your waist. Okay, so that's what's going to help you turn is the spine here. Leaning forward so you get that 30% in the front and then arms up just like before. This is going to be a little bit more of a challenge. You might start feeling that leg shake a little bit. Remember to breathe. Picking a point dead ahead of you helps with balance. Breath work helps with relaxation. It helps kind of ease any kind of shaking you might feel in your leg, depending on how low you're sinking. Let those elbows hang down. Remember, there's that nice gap between your hands. Head's lifting up. Waist relaxed down. Few more breaths here. Check in on your alignment real quick. As you're holding, are you letting it collapse or are we keeping that beautiful shape? Making all of our muscles work, healing our tendons and ligaments and our joints. 2 more breaths. And release. Okay. Shake out that leg, maybe both legs. I love your dedication. You guys really can hold these. These are great. So remember, there's so many aspects of our practice, and still practice is a big part of that. So again, if you have lines on your floor, use them to your advantage. 70% in the back, 30 in the front. Okay, really check knee in line. Remember, don't let it hang in. Really keep it perfectly in line, helping to heal your body. Touching with the whole ball of the foot. Remember to turn from your waist, not your hips, okay? Turning nice and flexible. Upper body shape. How do we get that 30%? Not by shifting forward. We fold from our hips. Beautiful. Remember to keep a nice gap between the arms. So we don't want to round too much. Relax and just kind of let the shoulders be in their sockets. Beautiful stance work. So the key to stance work is as we hold this posture, the longer we hold it, the easier it is to kind of build tension, especially in the upper body. We want to try to find the relaxed feeling. So we're still opening and extending each joint, but we're not doing it with tension, and we're not holding tension to keep our arms up. They're still just kind of relaxed and extended slightly. So taking a few more breaths. Where can you let go? Are you breathing all the way down through your belly still? Are we lifting through the crown of our head? Kind of letting that tension that might be building up in our legs just kind of hold there, being strong and heavy. And then we'll release. Okay. Shake it out. Okay. These are a little bit harder to hold than a bow stance. So now moving on to a bow stance, but with our torso vertical, which is single whip or fan through the back. We will do it on both sides, despite mostly doing it with our left foot forward. So sinking into one leg, sink down, and then stepping out. Normal bow stance, except this time we're going to turn and open. Make sure our torso is nice and vertical, okay? So check your hips. Make sure that the hips are really sitting nice and level here. Knees in line. The thing that happens right away is as we turn, a lot of the times that front knee will come in. So we really want to be aware and check in on that weight in the back foot. Are you pushed out and extended? And then we'll bring those arms up again in that beautiful upper body shape or hug a tree position. So it's up to you. You can do the standard looking over the shoulder if you'd like, or more neutral head position. Wherever you can, relax a little bit more through the upper body. Feel a little bit more opening through the hips. Check in on your breath work. Remember, our breath work will tell us a lot about how our body's doing. If our breath becomes short and strained, we want to see where we can release the tension in our body. So where can we relax? Where is it causing us to become short of breath? So maybe if the hips are kind of having a hard time opening, we take a little bit of a smaller stance, and that will help with the opening in the crotch or groin area. So a few more breaths here. Nice deep belly breathing. Relax your waist down. Head still lifting up. And again, we can look over the shoulder if that feels good. Beautiful. This is so important to our whole practice. It will help improve everything long term. All right, release. Release down, relax the tension in the arms, and then we'll do the other side. So sinking down and stepping out. Nice shoulder width apart stance. Depending on which side you were on, one side's going to feel a little bit easier than the other based on all the single whip practice. So check in with that alignment. Both knees perfectly aligned. Weight centered to front and back, side to side. Hips nice and level. Turning that torso open slightly. Arms up. And then again, looking if you'd like. Taking that moment, run through your checklist. Head lifting up, shoulders and elbows down, waist relaxed, knees in line and weight centered. All so important. As we move through the form, through each new posture that you learn, I encourage you to take time with each pose, holding it in still practice. That will allow us to release any tension we might feel. So relaxing the upper body, relaxing the spine, just taking deep breaths. Again, checking in with our bodies, our breath tells us a lot about where we are today and what we can let go of. Beautiful. Few more breaths here. Really letting go, checking on that footwork, making sure knees are in line. Again, one side's going to feel a little bit easier because we always practice that side. All right, release. Shake out the arms, shake out the legs. All right, yes, now we're ready to move, right? Ready to do on those warm-ups. Any questions about the still practice? We feeling good? All right. So let's take a moment and warm up, okay? So we can just do some shoulder circles. So if you want to do like one arm and then the other rotation, or you want to do like one arm and then the other, you can do both. You could do big circles. It's whatever feels good to get these shoulders moving, okay? So whatever is going to allow those joints to move freely for a second. We're going to be doing a lot with the shoulders today. So taking a second, going both directions. And again, maybe that's one arm and then the other, or big circles. Maybe it's a combination of both, okay? We really want to get warmed up today for wave hands like clouds. This is so important, okay? So we're going to take a moment, come back to center, make sure we're in a nice prepare stance. Just inserting a little qigong here for a moment. We're going to inhale and lift the arms up. Turn the palms up, feel the shoulders rotate, and then let the arms float down. So getting a nice rotation with our breath work here. Inhale, lifting up, press up. You can look up if you'd like, and then let the arms float down. Full arm rotation here. So inhale, gathering, press up, and then release. Finding that lightness and stillness through the arms. Lifting on your inhales, and then exhale, relax down. All right, so now Let's work on those hips, right? So just taking a moment, a little bit wider stance, swinging side to side, that circling, that feels so good, getting a bit of an opening through our hips here. So that pushing forward and out to the side will really help open the hip joints here. Nice circle rotation, and then we'll do the other way. So important. All of these different things, especially if we're starting first thing in the morning, are really key to helping our practice. Okay, let's come back to center. Another hip opening. You can always hold on to a piece of furniture or a chair if you'd like. Lifting up and out to the side, okay? So if you're trying to do it without touching, you have to really pick a point dead ahead to look at, and that's gonna help you. Something not moving. And this will also help build strength and open the hips at the same time. One more on this side. Just like Pierre will do 5 and 5. So shift that weight over, find that balance, pick that point ahead of you, remember to breathe. Hand on the hip if you'd like, lift up and then open. Nice balance work. Remember, try to keep the foot nice and relaxed. If we're holding tension in the foot, it's gonna hold tension through the whole leg. So just try to let it relax down naturally. 2 more. Beautiful. Lifting. Okay, let's do the other side one more time. So coming back, shift to the other side or switch hand position, lifting up, open, and down. So big movements, really lift up and open. Another way we can do this is especially if you're holding onto something, you can just hold. You can always just lift and hold and open to the side. This will help release as well, just like standing practice. This can be super helpful. And this is really awesome as well, just moving and turning. So we'll do 2 more, and then we'll do a little hold on the other side. Good, let's do 1 more round. Shifting, remember to pick that point, find your center first, then coming up and out. Beautiful, big movements here. So really having to use our hip flexors here to open. And again, there's that great option to grab and then pull open to the side. The higher you pull up, the more you'll feel it. But as you do this, you really want to make sure that your hips are nice and level still. And then release. And we'll do 2 more. Something a little bit different for you guys. Coming up and over. Okay, let's take a moment just circling the knees and the ankles. Just nice circle on one side, view one direction. Then we'll go the other way, just kind of warming up those ankle joints, circling on the ball of the foot, and then we'll do the other side. View one direction, and then the other. You can always kind of do this standing as well and just kind of circling with the foot if you want that extra balance, all right? Take a moment, shake out the arms. Let's go back to our training of our waist and our turning. So 2 options here. You can stand shoulders width apart. We're just gonna swing for a moment before we do more waist work. So just turning from your center, just let the arms go. The palm will strike the lower back. Remember to follow all of those principles, lifting through the crown of the head, letting your waist hang down, taking deep breaths, shoulders relaxed. And what's the most important one as we move this way? Our waist leads the movement. So if you spin a little bit faster through the waist, the arms move more. If we slow it down, then the arms slow down. But just trying to find that turning from our center. All right, let's ease off by coming back nice and slow. And then you can grab a chair if you want. It's going to be up to you. We'll do some of those waist training exercises. So if you're not in a chair, bending into the knees just a little bit so that our knees are a little bit bent, but not too bendy. Just giving ourselves that extra space to move, okay? Bringing those arms up. Starting with that turning of our waist, we'll go from corner, back to center, and to corner. So this is what we're going to be working with a lot today with wave hands like clouds, is turning our waist, especially in this shoulder width apart stance. So being able to shift our weight from side to side and turning our waist from corner to corner. Really letting go. Feeling that opening in that mid-lower back. Sometimes they call it the gateway to life. The center of our body, or the dantian, is where all of the energy gathers. We're trying to keep that nice and open. Every breath we take, we're breathing all the way down to that area. Coming back to center. And then opening the chest. So lift the heart and then bring it back. So it's a lifting, lift, and back. Okay? It's kind of like in yoga, we do a bigger version where we really lift and we really go back, but we just want to do smaller versions here. So just kind of warming up our chest, open, and then kind of round. So feeling it through the middle and upper back. Nice opening and expansion. We'll just do a couple more. This one's always a little bit different. Okay? Last one, really round, reach, 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 stretch the shoulders, and then let the arms hang down for a second. Okay, release that tension. Remember, our goal is to not let it build up as we move through this, okay? Now from here, arms up, we're just gonna do those figure eight. So drawing a figure eight with your middle, okay? So you go to the corner, you come back, and then you go across and back. One direction is always gonna feel very good and a lot easier to do it. So that's more of a kind of extended version where you really push out and around. You can really make them big, but the goal is it's going to be a small movement, okay? It's going to be little turning of our waist. Now, what happens if we go the other way? Okay, this is where it gets really fun. And this is where sitting in a chair will really help, because you notice that as soon as we come to these figure eights, the hips want to move, right? They want to free flow a little bit more, okay? We want them a little bit more stable, and then we can sit in a chair to kind of get this movement just a little bit more, okay? Whew. All right, let's release, relax. Okay, we got the chair. Let's do it one more time, okay? So it's really important, okay? I'm gonna grab a chair too. This is one of the hardest ones to do without a chair, okay? The chair shows us how our hips can be in this position, okay, and unmoving, and how we can really, I mean, you can even put your hands on your ribs so that you can kind of really feel what it feels like to have this portion of your body moving, okay? So when you're sitting on this chair, is your weight even on your sit bones? So like maybe you even have to take a second and move the thigh meat so then you can really find your sit bones and be nice and centered, and then feel that moving of the spine. Now remember, and where does this come from? That middle lower back area, right? So it's not just like the whole spine. Like we want this to be nice and straight, and we want that twisting and turning and that freedom of our spine to be able to move from side to side while being perfectly stacked. All right. Hardest part is Tai Chi right there. Okay. All right. Any questions on that? That's a lot of information. Okay. I really suggest taking time to do that. Piers actually had pushed me to the point of training with that every day, because it changes your form so very much. So, are we ready to practice? Yes, let's do it. Okay, so let's start at cross hands. Remember, due to space constraints, we make all the necessary adjustments, okay? So sometimes the footwork might be a little bit shorter. Sometimes I might reset. It's just from knowing where I need to be in the space, okay? So we're gonna start at cross hands. We're gonna go all the way up through to that single whip right before wave hands like clouds. All right, so nice footwork. Remember, perfectly in line, shoulders width apart, right hand on the outside for crossed hands. Embrace the tiger, return to the mountain, shifting right to turn on your left heel. Separating, looks like brush knee with a different meaning. Nice. flow happening here. Roll back, bicycle the arms to connect out and then turn. Press, touching the center of the forearm and then expanding out. Push. Remember to sit up the palms at the last moment and push. Fist under elbow, flattening the arms, turning just like single whip. Except when we get back to the side, relax our left foot, we're gonna push out. Stepping, ward off. To connect, show grabbing as we re-step with that right foot, pull down, lift, punch, and touch with the left heel for fist under elbow. Repulse monkey, number 1, opening up that fist, hand in front of the shoulder, pushing back as you strike out. Number 2, swing or circle back, and then forward and back go together. Last one, nice circling of the arms. Repulse monkey. Diagonal flying, big circle with the arms. Touching with the heel, open that foot to the corner and then turn. Diagonal flying. Raise hands. Step back, open up your arms. Touch with the heel, turn from your waist. Raise hands and step forward. Circle down. White crane, left hand comes on top as you step. Right arm passes on the outside, touch with the ball of the left foot. Brush knee, look at your right palm. Left arm goes up, right arm down. Then they switch, step, and remember, hand to the shoulder first and then straight out. Needle at C-bottom. Stepping closer in, pulling back, lift up your toes and then change to the ball of the foot, fold from your hips, needle at the C-bottom. Fan through the back, left hand to right wrist as you step. Pulling into the strike. Looks like single whip with the right hand by your temple. Turn body, pressing down with the right arm, protecting your head with the left as you turn. Make a fist for the chop, stepping out, touch with the foot and chop, weight moving forward for the palm, strike. Parry, block, and punch, connecting out, circle down, step, parry to the side, left arm and leg go out together to block, and then punch. Connecting, diagonal fist for grasping the bird's tail. Right arm comes underneath for ward off, right. Roll back, rotating to the corner, left palm to the sky, right palm seated. Shift your weight back and turn. Touching for press, and then expanding out. Open up both arms for push. Going back over a ball and push. Single whip, flattening the arms, turn. Big circle, pressing down. Beautiful extended hook arm. Drop that left elbow, step wide enough, and push. Okay, nice. Ooh, good end postures. All right, how are we feeling? Any questions on anything in that section?
Yeah.
Feeling good? All right, let me grab a drink of water. You guys too. And then you ready to do wave hands?
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna do it one time from the normal direction. We're gonna face each other a little bit. This one is pretty easy to mirror, okay? So wave hands like clouds starts from single whip. We do 3, we shift back, and we turn on our left heel. Our hook hand comes to the straight direction. We drop the hook down. We step shoulder width, And we're using that waist turning. Get the arms to the side direction as we step double wide and then shoulder width. Moving across a plank, feet are straight. We do 3, and the last one we step shoulder width but to the corner, making a hook, stepping out, returning to single width. Okay? So the footwork is relatively easy, right? So the footwork is just going from parallel stance to a double shoulder width stance. So if you move to the right side of your room, I'm going to mirror you and we're going to do it together. So starting shoulders width apart, I want you to look down at your feet. Okay? The hard thing about this is as we do this movement, all that training we did in the beginning of class for our weight, we're going to shift our weight to the right side as you turn your waist. So we have to sink into our right leg and then you step out. Now, when you step, traditional method should be touch with the toe, ball heel. But when we do that, make sure that your foot is actually straight. It's very easy to turn one direction or the other. So if you find that your foot has a natural way to turn, there's 2 other options. You can step with your whole foot on the ground, or you can touch with the edge of your shoe and kind of immediately roll. Sometimes either of those will help so that you have this perfectly straight footwork all the way across the room. Okay, so we've turned our waist. We're here on our right side. You can bring that body shape up if you'd like. Now, as we shift to the left, we come back to center. Then we keep turning and we step in. We come back, everything's in the center. We keep shifting and then we step out. Now look, how'd you do? Is your foot straight? Remember, perfectly straight, good. All right, shifting to center. Then to the side and step in. Center, side, we're gonna do a few more than we usually do. Stepping out. Just so we can really feel, look, everything's in the center, weight's in the center, and then we go over to that left side and we step in. Back to center, waist, body, everything. Even the looking direction follows to that right side as you step. Then everything's to the center. We come back to the side and step in. Center, side, step out. Okay, look, how'd you do? How's the footwork? Is it straight? Yes? All right, one more. Center, side, step in, center, drop the arms and look. How'd you do? Shoulder width apart, nice and straight? Yes. Remember, practice sessions are great to hit these pause or checkpoints to really make sure. So this footwork is pretty easy, right? But it's the weight and the waist turning that we really want to make sure we get, okay? The waist turning sometimes really gets missed in wave hands like clouds, and it's one of the most important things. So let's go the normal direction, everyone together, starting in that single whip footwork, bow stance, sinking into that right leg. Remember, knee in line, stepping out, torso's vertical. Okay, arms up into that hug a tree position. So first thing, shifting weight to your right leg, you turn on your left heel. We turn all the way to straight, and then we're going to turn back, and we're going to step in. Turning to the right, turning corner, step out, turning and stepping in. Now I want you to make sure, as you shift your weight, is your knee still staying in line with your toe direction? And then even more so when you step out, are your knees in line as you shift and turn? And then last one, instead of stepping shoulder width here, we're going to step shoulder width, but to the corner direction. We're going to turn. We're going to step out, move forward, and then that little expansion for single width. Drop the arms, check your footwork. How did we do? Are we shoulders width apart? That being the hardest thing. Yes, that looks good. Okay. It's one of the hardest parts about this movement is the very last bit. Did we hit shoulders width apart? Okay. So let's do it again. Really focusing in on the alignment of our knees, giving us that best benefit of healing our body. So beautiful bow stance to start. Arms up if you'd like. All right, shifting your weight to the right. Turn all the way to the corner. Okay, shifting back. Going corner, stepping in. Center, right side. Remember to fold into the hips so you can step out. Knees stay in line with the foot direction the whole time. It's just our waist turning that brings us to center, right side as we step out, bringing that weight center and then all the way to the left so we can easily step shoulder width, and then perform single whip, bow stance. Good. Any questions on the footwork? The footwork's pretty simple, right? That's like the easiest part. It's then coordinating the arms. So I always like to start wave hands like clouds by bringing both arms out, okay? When we bring both arms out, we can kind of feel like the whole rotation and try, instead of trying to focus on the opposite circles. So from here, dropping the elbows down, okay? It should feel, I like to say like Wild West, right? Like we have that space under our arms here, and then we come where? Into that upper body shape. Now from here, whole arm rotates. See how the palms and everything rotate together? Beautiful. Till they sit up at the side. Now, right now, our side direction is not going to be like this to the side. Keep your chest rounded and your back sinking, or chest sinking and back rounded. Sorry, guys. And then from here, we're going to rotate, fingers point down, coming into that hug a tree position. Then we can say it's almost like two rainbows. We're making these beautiful arches with the arms and then sinking, okay? So nice rotation. Now what's the hard part here? Using the elbows and shoulders. That's why I like to start this way, because can you notice how the shoulders and elbows are not moving very much? They're kind of staying here in three-dimensional space, and we're using the rotation of the joint, okay? This is very important. This is what makes wave hands like clouds, okay? So nice rotation. And what are we gonna do now? Relax them down, shake them out. There's nothing else like a Tai Chi class that makes you hold your arms up for 45 minutes and be like, all right, I want you to feel like this is nothing, okay? So I want you to keep that in mind. Always take that second to let go of any tension you might feel. All right, so we're gonna mirror each other now for this portion, and then we'll turn and go the other way eventually. So left hand is gonna be out to the side. We're gonna do the same thing, except this time including the waist turning. So now your left arm is gonna be to straight, but how did it get there? It's your torso turning to the corner that brings your arm there. So remember, we're never going to open our arms up fully to the side if our chest is straight. It's always going to be about 45 degrees, but that turning of our waist is what brings our arm to the side direction. So now, as we come to center, our arm drops, and then when it comes up, we're to the other corner. So then we're rotating, turning, 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 turning to the corner, and then we come back. And we start turning to the right, and when we reach the corner, we're in ward off, and then we start turning back. So what's the main focus here? Really using that waist to bring the arm out to this side direction, okay? Now that we've done this arm, this should feel super easy. We've got this one, okay? Now bring the right arm up to ward off. Remember, they're both making the same circle. They're just timed differently. So we're going up and down together, and we hit center. Big thing, don't cross your side. Drop that arm down a little bit. Then we keep turning where? To the corner, so that our right palm is seated to the side, to straight, and our other arm is in ward off. So left arm lifts up, right arm drops down. Keep turning to the left and check. Beautiful. So hitting that nice position. Now here, stay for 1 second. Big thing is space between our body, okay? So always avoiding being close in, nice space on the side, okay? Now from here, rotate and then come across. Back to center and then across to the other side, okay? So taking that time to really think, okay, we're rotating that whole arm, palm sits up, and we're pulling down, okay? So let's do a couple more. Then we're going to talk about the meaning. Unfortunately, do not have someone to show you with. There's a toddler being watched in the other room by my husband, but we will imagine what this is like, okay? So one more round from the left side and then across to the right. Okay, relax those arms. Okay, so the meaning really helps with the visualization. Remember, every punch in martial arts is a nice long arm, okay? The meaning of this movement is using this lifting up to connect to your opponent's punch, okay? So you are going to connect right here on the center of your forearm, and this should feel kind of familiar from fist under elbow, right? So what is this? When we do fist under elbow, we connect and we turn to grab, right? This is the same thing. We're connecting, turning to grab, except this time we're pulling down, okay? So connect, turn to grab, and pulling down. So that's why it's very, very important that when we do this, it's not just this, right? We're not just connect, turn, pull down. We have to use the waist turning to connect, turn, grab, and pull down, okay? It's this that's going to give you the real power, the real energy, right? And we're not here to learn martial arts. This is also about our mind. This is also just about daily life. But when we're learning over Zoom or over YouTube or whatever method that is, we need kind of reference points of where we should be, right? Because we're not in the same room. So this helps us understand why when we do this, we need to be out in front, okay? So you never want your opponent's punch to come close to you, right? You want to connect out here as much as possible so then you can grab and then turn and throw them to the side. Clear? Good. All right. Super important. Okay, so let's do it again, just mirroring each other, really knowing and understanding why that waist is so important. Remember, all of the movements start where? In the ground, controlled by the waist, and then expressed in the hands and fingers. So left hand out to the side, right arm's in ward off. Remember, it's our torso turned to the corner that gets our hand to the side position. Okay, as we come back to center, we should hit about here. Then we keep turning back to center and then across to the other side. And it's just turning. Rotate to grab and pull down. Connect, turn and grab and pull down. So it's the same thing again and again. This special thing about wave hands like clouds, it is the only movement in the entire form that has what we call silk reeling energy. This circling from side to side. So I want you to take a moment now. I want you to forget all the tiny little details that I just gave you, and I just want you to let the arms flow. I just want you to feel your waist turn. I want you to feel light and airy through the arms and just float and enjoy this beautiful circling that we only do in wave hands like clouds. Yes, there it is. So light and airy. One more complete round, side to side. And we'll come back to that left side and then release. Did we feel a difference when we let go? I can see you guys kind of release. Yes, okay. this is a big thing that I've been really trying to incorporate into my classes because remember, we are so lucky and fortunate to learn directly from the Yang family. This is like the highest honor, right? But we have a lot of detail because of it. So sometimes that detail can cause our form to become a little stiff. So I want you to try and find that lightness, even though we have all these details. So that's our goal, is to find that relaxed or kind of extended feeling with that little bit of softness too, okay? Yes. All right. Any questions on the arms? Okay. Yes?
I just missed what's what this movement has. That's the only one. What's the actual
Silk reeling energy. So everything else we have is mostly ward off energy, right? So even like this is a ward off arm, but this circling, that is the only time we see this circling within the form, okay? So Chen style has a lot of this circular energy where they do circling and then explosions forward. Yang style is mostly warding off forward or going forward with our energy in all different ways, okay? So this is the first time we have a circular and side movement versus forward.
Okay, thank you. And
Pretty
the name
cool.
was what kind of energy?
Silk, like silk, like an actual fabric, silk reeling energy.
Silk reeling. Okay, great.
Yes. And I'm sure if you ask Pierre, he will have even more information. His knowledge of history is incredible. I'm always learning from him. So I'm sure he can give you a lot more detail on that one for sure. Okay. So now, what's the difference from what we were just doing to including single whip? Okay. When we do this, I'm going to face the camera. This is not mirroring. This is just the normal thing. Okay. When we start in single whip, we shift our weight back and the arms don't change. Then as we turn on our left heel, we're going to bring the left arm across and the hook hand's going to come to straight. So this should feel similar to what we were just doing, okay, in terms of everything's on the side. But the difference is that we have our hook hand still and we still have our seated palm from that push, okay? So let's just do that part. So from the normal direction, if I'm facing the normal direction, okay, the hook hands to the corner, we shift back, and as you turn, everything goes together so that the hook hand ends up straight, the torso's to the corner. Okay, so does that make sense? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so remember the hook hand is not going to drop down, okay? So that hook hand is at throat level and it is going to stay about that high. It's not going to drop low. It's still going to stay a little bit high, okay? Then it's going to drop down, and as it drops down, you're going to open up the hook hand so that it can just be normal wave hands like clouds. Yes, okay? So it's as it comes down. Now remember, as we drop our arms, we never want to let that armpit close, okay? Whenever we do this, even from that hook, we're going to drop down. We're going to keep that space and use what? That's why I say it, that Wild West position, okay? That's that keeping of that space in our arms. Because if we think Wild West, you know, it keeps us from doing this for some reason. That's why I say it. Plus, I always get a smile out of everyone. So that's my goal with Tai Chi. I want you to at least be smiling a little bit, okay? So from single whip, shift back, turn. Check your left foot. Is it straight? Now dropping that hook, turning, we're pulling to the left side, and we step in when the arms are on the side. Now weights to the center, coming across to the side, step out. Center, side, step in. Remember, use your waist. Turning to bring the arms to the side direction. Last one. We're going to step to the corner, and then this time making a hook, the last second, drop that left elbow, step wide enough, standing ward off, and then palm push. How do we do? Good. All right, let's do it again. All right. Beautiful single whip starting position here. Okay, shift back, turn. Drop that hook, keep that armpit open as you turn and step in. Remember, keep that space. Don't let the arms collapse. Keep that distance from your opponent as you turn to grab. So connect, rotate to grab and pull down. Connect, turn to grab, and then the last one, just like normal until the very last second where we drop the fingers, lift the wrist, make a hook, and then single whip. All right, nice. Oh, good footwork too. Very good footwork. All right, questions? Feeling like professionals? We got, no, you'll get there. Okay, yes.
I wonder why they would keep that position in the Wild West. You have a guess?
So it's energy. It's always energy in the shoulders. So anytime we're doing anything like ward off right, same thing, right? We don't close the arm here, like ward off right. We don't come here. We keep everything where? Out here, out in front. Everything's out in front always. It's never gonna close off and come in. So we always want to kind of, instead of being here, it's just a cue I use to help people because everyone does this. Everyone does this in this movement. And as soon as you do this, we lose that body shape. Think about even prepare. The very first movement, do we start like this? Or do we have that little piece of fruit under the arms? So it's that same thing here, just making sure that we keep that little piece of fruit underneath the arms as we do this rotation. Okay?
Yeah,
Does that help clear it up?
I never heard it called like that, the Wild West, but I'm just thinking in the actual Wild West, what would be the application of being like this?
Oh, with the Wild West stuff, they're shooting guns. They're doing the gunslinging stuff. But a lot of people, like Americans, they know this. They know this position. If for some reason it connects with a lot of people, and as soon as I say it, then this goes away, and we actually keep that space here. So it's just about keeping that space under the arm so that we don't collapse and do this. This is the biggest thing that is like, stay big, you know? Young family.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's a great question. Okay, so this is the kind of the differences, and I teach a lot of different demographics. So it's just been a general overall thing that just allows people to keep this space. So we really want to avoid this within our practice here, and especially like even like this, because so many times this will be what people do. And it'll be like all wrist and it'll be like collapsing in instead of keeping that space, right? And keeping away from our body so that we have that meaning of connecting, turning to grab, and then coming back, okay? So even as we do this connect to turn and grab, you could use the other arm to push to the side or connect and then push to the other side, okay? So you could help with both, but the big thing is just keeping that space so that we keep that energy flowing through the arms instead of doing this in our practice, especially in wave hands. So it's kind of like common errors that we see is collapsing of the arms and then not turning the waist, okay? So really making this clear that the waist turning is what's leading that movement. Yes, you're looking great, really. You guys are looking really good, okay? And great questions because these are really key important things, and that's why it's really important to warm up our shoulders before we start doing wave hands like clouds, because we've been holding our arms up for over an hour now, right? And we've been doing all kinds of rotations. So when we do this, this actually gives our like whole arm a break and we don't have to use any muscles, right? Everything's just kind of pulling on the body when we're kind of tucked in close and our armpits are closed. When we're like this, we have to keep that space and that we have to use the shoulder muscles, right, to keep the arm away from the body versus being here, okay? So what happens naturally is that after we practice for a while, we'll see more and more of this because this just takes less effort, okay? Great question. All right, so let's practice again from single whip all the way through wave hands like clouds back to single whip. All right, shifting back, turn. Drop the hook hand, turning to the left, center, and then to the side. Really keeping that space in the arms, not collapsing. Last one, stepping to the corner direction, making a hook, drop the elbow, single whip. Okay. Any more questions? Nice. Great alignment. Okay, so today we reviewed, we did wave hands like clouds from single whip to single whip. And then next week, we're going to be doing high pat on horse, which is like the grand finale before we get to, I like to say the balance section. Because if we call it the kicking section, sometimes we get a little worried, okay? But remember, we don't have to necessarily stand on one leg the whole time, okay? I want you to keep that in mind, okay? That is not necessary at all, that throughout that entire thing, we can touch with our toes, okay? And we can go from here to here, we can stand in balance. That's why I call it the balance section versus the kicking section, okay? So next week, we'll do high pat on horse. I want you guys to bring all your questions, okay? Remember that we are going to break for 2 weeks at the end of December. So this is going to be a great time to get your questions in before we have that little break from class, and then we're back in January. All right. Any questions before we stop this portion of class for the night?
No, great.
All right.
Great.
Well, let's this portion. Oh, thank you so much. You guys did great work tonight.